I am live. Hello, live from New York. It's Jeff Kravitz, 420 Live. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another week. Another week in the bubble, in the pandemic. Are you keeping in your bubble? Everything that's happening in the bubble is succeeding. The hockey, the basketball, baseball, not so much. You know, when I got to New York the other night, the Empire State Building was lit up in orange and blue. And I was like, what happened with the Mets? And then I went online and I'm like, 4 players test positive. No Subway Series. I'm like, so the Empire State Building is talking to me when I get here. And it's telling me what's going on and what I need to look at the news. Also in the news, as we saw, the hurricane, a double-barreled hurricane headed to NOLA, headed to the Gulf today. Our show featuring the food, film, music event this weekend with the One Note at a Time documentary screening. This screening is we're talking about this. I was just told by Craig from Bonorama that Saturday will be the anniversary of Katrina. And here you go. I think he said 15, maybe he said 16 years ago. I'm sure he'll correct me later. But that's how long ago that was. Almost to the day. Wednesday is when this next storm is coming on. Laura. Marco, he's okay. He turned into a tropical depression. It's still sunny down in there in NOLA. So our hopes and prayers are with everybody. Our thoughts and prayers are with everybody down there in NOLA. You know, that is a very important place for all of us. It's where we all go to get our yayas out, to get in touch with ourselves, to get in touch with our musical half, our other half where we let loose. We're not worried about people judging us on the way we dance or dress. Well, that does happen, but still, you can let loose and with a wild abandon, because however you're doing your thing to someone that's doing their thing, that's going to blow whatever you're doing away. It's like a one-upmanship down there in NOLA on who's more ready to let loose the longest. And they've had a hard time. New Orleans is hit really hard. People aren't traveling right now. People aren't going down there for vacation. The clubs aren't open. The music's not happening. So they're in a very hard time right now. And one of the beneficiaries is the New Orleans Musicians Clinic. And we're going to talk to them today. Talk to Bethany Bultman from the Musicians Clinic. And she's going to tell us some interesting things about what's happening with them through this transition and what's happening with everybody through the pandemic and how they've been supporting all these people that can't work. But everybody has been pretty ingenious. I'm going to be creating my own language right here. Pretty ingenious out there with the way they make money and how resourceful they are at this time. It's important that you kick into all these GoFundMe pages, and when a musician's out there doing something, throw a couple dollars in their tip cup, virtual tip cup, because this is the way they're feeding their family. And there is a lot more live music out there. I had the pleasure of going to my friend Mark and Jackie Reckler's house this past weekend and playing music with a ragtag bunch out in the bamboo field getting eaten by mosquitoes. And that was on the North Shore of Long Island. And then we moved 4 of the guys over to the South Shore, and we played in Kevin Mazur's backyard on Saturday night. And Saturday night set was about 3 hours and 15 minutes, 2 sets. And it was so good to play music with other people and to be out and see people dancing and enjoying themselves safely, of course, outside. You know, the numbers are not up here in New York like they have been, but everybody is still wearing masks. I was just out on the streets. It's a thing. You have to take care of yourselves. We have to take care of each other. You know, this is what it's all about. But at the same time, we need to get our yayas out. And I think that's the thing that's missing the most out of my summer. Fortunately, coming to the East Coast from California, I was able to get my yayas out. I see the difference. I talked to my wife today, and I was just talking. I'm like, so what's up and how is it? And you know, people are still in the mind where they don't want to go out. We're on the East Coast. They got so beat up this winter that they're just so excited to be out. And you see everybody out on the streets and enjoying themselves, and the restaurants all out on the streets. It's a different paradigm. So as you know, your alternate viewing right now is a Republican convention. You are welcome to tune into that if that's your choice, but that's not where we are right now. Today, we are going to be talking our first guest, Donna Lefont. Donna is with Food, Film, Music. She reached out to me about this festival a couple weeks ago, and then we talked on Sunday, and I was like, hey, we should do this right before the hurricane hits. So let's bring Donna in to say hi. Hello, Donna.
Hey, Jeff, how are you? Thank you for having us.
How's it going there?
It's good. I'm in the low country right now. I decided to get out of hot Atlanta and take a little break at the beach and clear my head and hopefully avoid a little bit of the after effects of both of those storms. So
Yeah, the beach is kind of where I found I got my groove back this summer. That's kind of.
Yes, you need the ocean to take in the energy and take it back out. So here we are. But
yeah, it's very good. Tell us how you came up with food, film, and music and why you started it.
Food, film, music is three of my favorite things. And you're talking about your yayas. And I felt like during this time, and even before the pandemic, I was in this state of reinvention of having sold a theater with my ex-husband in Atlanta and trying to figure out what's my purpose. And I thought, well, food, film, music are three of my favorite things. I, like you, like to go on tour, film festivals, music festivals. And I just thought, what a great way to kind of have a travel log and fill that lifestyle need. And so as the universe works, here we are. And I'm being guided every day. And you just have to step up and go with the flow.
So is this something you had going before the pandemic started?
I did. I had the basis of it kind of in the, it wasn't happening as fast as it's happening now, but most definitely. And with that was the film part, having pop-up cinema events with different places, yoga studios, galleries, warehouses. And then that changed. And I moved it to a virtual pop-up cinema, which now virtual streaming is the thing. And I'm going back to my theatrical exhibition roots and curating programming that I think audiences would like to see. And one note at a time, Renee and I are longstanding friends. I met her back in 2011 when she started filming this. And we met at the Howling Wolf at Gaynell, her August birthday in 2011. So it's been quite a long trek with her and our friendship. And I'm so happy to be able to help. And as everybody else, I'm missing New Orleans. So it's helping soothe my soul right now.
And you started the pop-up cinema. You want to tell us a little bit about what that is?
Pop-up cinema. I thought, going back to just everybody's got their crew and their vibe and finding a way to make it more intimate and more curated and just have kind of like a book club, but a film club so that people could actually connect and communicate and have that one-on-one with each other rather than just a big auditorium experience. And so pop-up of being anywhere creative, whether it be in a park or at a private school gymnasium or an art gallery or a yoga studio, just finding a way to feel the energy of the spaces and finding the right programming to meet the audience and making it more of an experience rather than just a one-off and more of a community engagement event.
Great. So you have an event going on the 28th and 29th through Food, Film, and Music, where you're premiering different movies that focus on New Orleans music and culture. I got that right?
Yes, that's right. It was going to be a much bigger event, but I was overly ambitious and decided to scale that back and maybe do more of a series. As you well know, this is more like the learning curve of going back to school and working a full-time job.
Right.
Trying to learn everything you have to do. And it just, I totally am grateful and living in gratitude for this opportunity and purpose and mission. And so we're going to start out with one note at a time and hopefully follow it up monthly with another New Orleans themed film and kind of grow this and keep it engaging and, get the suggestions back and see what happens.
Well, that's excellent. Well, why don't you introduce Renee and we'll talk a little bit about the movie.
Yes, Renee Edwards is a British filmmaker and she is the director of her first directorial debut, One Note at a Time, that she started filming right after Katrina, and she was following the musicians to find out what their lives were like and how they were moving forward after the hurricane. I'd like to introduce you to my friend and filmmaker, Renee Edwards.
Hello, Renee.
Hi, Jeff. Hi, Donna. Thanks for having me on.
It's nice to see you. When was the first time you went to New Orleans?
First time I went to New Orleans, I was a little girl. My dad is from there and he lives there. So when my parents separated, my sister and I used to go over for summer holidays. And so that's when it all started. And it's a big part of my life. I absolutely love it there, Jeff.
And were you? Do you go to Jazz Fest every year? Do you try to go every year to New Orleans at some point?
Oh, I go every year now, especially having made the film, but obviously to see family and friends. But yeah, it's so yeah. I mean, when I was sort of in my 20s, be like every 3 years or something like that, and it's increased as time goes on. So I'll probably be going every month or living there in the end. But I absolutely adore it.
It's definitely a hard place to live right now. They're going through the ringer again down there in New Orleans. It seems, and the setbacks. It's not as easy as fixing water damage. As hard as that is, the damage is a little deeper. And I guess it's another chapter to the story that you're telling is ultimately. But tell us a little bit about One Note at a Time and what it's about, and what made you make it.
Yeah, so well, One Note at a Time started out because I was after Hurricane Katrina hit, and I was obviously wanted to know how everyone was doing, and but I found myself really fascinated, preoccupied by the jazz funeral tradition and whether that would carry on, and it sort of grew from there. So I'm going over to sort of, because I felt like as a filmmaker that would be a way that I could, I don't know, contribute and do something, tell the story of the recovery in some way. And so when I went over, I was speaking to Eric Cager, who's the director of the Cutting Edge Music Festival there, and he was saying that obviously the whole music industry and scene had been affected on every single level, from engineers to musicians, and so the film grew from there really. And also during that period of research, I've had some friends on board by then. We started speaking with the different charities and people who were helping musicians, and met Bethany Bultman. So that was just amazing, the work that they were doing, and we decided to tell the story from the prism of the New Orleans Musicians Clinic in the end, which was really, really great, because you could meet the musicians in a sort of more of a vulnerable, kind of open state. They were very, very kind and generous with their time, and also letting us see them when they went to the clinic and things. And then obviously you see the person on stage performing and that side of their life as well, and also
set the stage a little bit for the people that aren't familiar with what happened. Is basically that a lot of musicians were forced out of New Orleans when Katrina hit because their homes were destroyed. The Ninth Ward was totally flattened, and a lot of homes got ruined, and a lot of them weren't even thinking of coming back at a certain point.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the musicians didn't come back, but fortunately many did, and other musicians as well came to live there and help and join in on the music scene. So yes, and I think it took a while. We started filming 2008 really, and went back sort of 2 or 3 times a year over 4 years. And so yeah, the musicians came and they started to rebuild the scene. But yeah, I mean, I think they initially certainly were playing with different people and everyone, but it's a very sort of tight-knit community. So I think people were helping each other, the musicians were helping each other and supporting each other, and obviously they had the clinic there as well to help them with with their health needs. But I think it was just great, a privilege really to be able to document it and be part of what was happening, and the sort of growth, but obviously a difficult time.
You just premiered this last month. Is that when you finally released it?
Yeah, so it was released in the UK and Ireland about a year and a half ago, something like that, and but in America, yeah, in the last month. So we're really looking forward to this weekend, because to be able to show, for the film to be available everywhere in the world is just fantastic. A lot of people often say, how can I see it when they're in other countries? And we've got great distributors, but it's amazing to be able to show, to sing that, everybody, we can all celebrate, and support New Orleans in this coming weekend.
Yeah, and a portion of the funds goes to the New Orleans Musicians Clinic, correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
So it's a big fundraiser. Do you want to introduce Bethany and tell us how you guys aligned?
Yeah, it's absolutely wonderful to meet Bethany Bultman. She's absolutely fantastic. She's a very major part of the film, and the work they do at the clinic is just unbelievably amazing. I mean, they go to every length to make sure that anyone, whether they've got the internet at these times and their phones, whatever is necessary, they make sure that they get the medical access to healthcare, or that anything that they can do, they do.
And how did you guys connect?
We met as part of the research for the film with the charities, and actually we met. It was brilliant. I think the first time we filmed, Dr. John was there, and so I was able to interview Dr. John and Bethany the same day. But yeah, it was brilliant to meet Bethany. Very exciting to learn what she was doing and hear how they were moving forward. And also, it was a difficult time for the clinic as well, obviously, straight after Katrina. So we've been really happy to be able to support them.
All right, let's bring in Bethany Bultman. Hello, Bethany. How are you?
How are you?
Great to see you. How's everything down there in the Big Easy?
Well, hopefully the storms will stay far away from us. And I am in complete seclusion since March, but who's counting, with COVID. And people use the French Quarter as if it were the peeing section of the public pool. And so we have to be super careful, and we have to keep our patients super careful, because people still come here not to wear their mask and drink and do whatever they want.
So the bars are open on Bourbon Street, but you can't go in? No, they're not.
No, they're not. But people still get drinks, they buy stuff in stores, and go and stand on Bourbon Street with things closed.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really special.
That is unbelievable. And there's nothing open on Bourbon Street.
No.
That's got to be a scene. I'm going to have to find a camera to stream it.
Well, no, you don't have to find a camera. There are webcams that you just go look at.
I'm going to have to check it out later.
Watch it.
That's got to be very entertaining. Are they throwing beads at each other and stuff? Or
no, but at one point for fun, and I, honestly have given this up. I don't watch this anymore, and I don't know if it's still happening. But people were getting pizzas delivered to the middle of Bourbon Street in front of a camera just to watch the rats come and eat the pizza.
Wow. That sounds actually very entertaining.
Well, please help yourself. I mean, knock yourself out. You can invite all your friends. You can have a lunch party.
We'll have a rat pizza eating party.
Yeah, you just have to get the camera, figure out the address, order the pizza, and invite all your friends.
In New Orleans, very inventive, always inventive, and always there's a sense of humor, even in the hardest times.
Yeah,
people know how to make each other laugh.
I gotta say, we do have a sense of humor.
Yeah, and you need a sense of humor to live down there, because you're constantly getting hit. If it's bad enough that of what's happened to the economy and the pandemic and the whole tourist industry, which is what New Orleans thrives on. Let's face it, that's the industry down there. Conventions and tourism, and I don't know when conventions are coming back or tourism. And I'm in New York City right now. In this city, 5% of these office buildings are filled. So they're having a hard time here. 600,000 people have changed their addresses and moved from here. It's insane what's happening in our country right now. But what's happening in New Orleans affects the musicians. And let's talk a little about the New Orleans Musicians Clinic. Bethany was nice enough to forward me an article today about how the band Fish was instrumental in the development of the clinic. And I know my fans are all Fish heads, so would you tell us the short version of that story?
Well, Fish played at Jazz Fest, and that was in 1996. And one of the people who was with the band was this famous doctor named Dr. Jack McConnell. And his son, Paige, is in the band. But Jack is a passionate traditional jazz fan. And when the kids were little, he played George Lewis every Sunday after church when they were having Sunday dinner. And so Jack decided Jack's not a musician, he's a great doctor, but he decided he'd learn one song really well, and that was Won't You Come Home, Bill Bailey. And if you go on the Fish website, you can see Dr. McConnell playing Won't You Come Home, Bill Bailey with the band. But in the course of singing that song while he was in New Orleans with the band, he started thinking this is the birthplace of American music, but it's an early grave for so many of the artists. And there has to be a way to found a clinic that is going to ensure that they live long and productive lives. And so with that, my husband and I got to meet Jack, and we got the LSU Medical School involved, and we ended up with a clinic as a result of Jack and his vision.
Well, he was opening these clinics in other places in the United States, right?
He opened Volunteers in Medicine, and there are over 100, but the Volunteers in Medicine model is a little bit different than our model. Mm-hmm. It is volunteer doctors and nurses who help particularly hospitality workers in a community who don't have insurance. Our clinic used all the subspecialty groups within the medical school so that it was both a comprehensive medical clinic and an occupational clinic, so that our performers would not get sick, but they also wouldn't get an injury that would prohibit them from playing.
So tell us how the clinic helps the musicians of New Orleans.
Right at this moment,
we're
not only doing healthcare, but in this pandemic, we realize that one of the best things we can do is to keep our musicians who are elderly and with chronic conditions completely isolated. So we deliver their food to them, their groceries to them, their medicine to them. We have nurses who call them every week. And then we're doing all of the clinical work on telemedicine with our providers. We also are doing COVID testing, because one of the problems in New Orleans is that if you go get a regular test, sometimes you don't get the results for 2 or 3 weeks. As you know, Queen Kim, one of the Mardi Gras Indians, was tragically shot. And there was a massive funeral for Queen Kim the other day. Many, many, many people in the crowd weren't wearing masks. So we know we're going to have an uptick of cases, and the death rate in the African American population in New Orleans is very, very high from COVID. So a lot of what we do is about prevention, and it's about early detection, and it's about protecting households of people who aren't even our patients. And we are planning to do feeding, like you mentioned, Howlin' Wolf. We do feeding programs at Howlin' Wolf 3 times a week, and then at other locations the other 4 days a week. So this is an ongoing issue to make sure people are fed and safe until the pandemic is over.
And how many musicians approximately are you dealing with?
Well, our patients, like who is actually a patient, is 2,600 patients.
Wow.
Are in our medical record system. There are probably, of that 2,600, about 300 that we feel are the most vulnerable. Now, those are the ones who are physically vulnerable. I think that the mental health issues are great, and we have a lot of resources, but sometimes you don't really know how bad the mental health crisis is until it is a crisis.
Mm-hmm.
People tend to suffer in silence, and there's a lot of shame. We are partnering with Sound Mind in New York, working closely with them, in particular for musicians who are suffering from any kind of mental illness and addictions. So it is just realizing that we have to work on this together, that we have to be a safe place for people, and that we do whatever we can, just trying to keep people alive.
Well, let me ask you the $64,000 question. How's your funding going?
Oh my God, it's not good. I mean, it's like, I feel like Dr. Jack McConnell is on my shoulder all the time. And he said, when people ask you if you can really keep affording to do this, you just look at them and say, can we afford not to? And that's how I feel. And I say to our team every day, you know what? If we spend our last dime and we don't have any more money, we can hold our heads up and be like Thelma and Louise and go over the cliff. Because people don't give us money to hold it in the bank. We're spending money quickly because that's what needs to happen. And, you know, I always hope that the film and people become aware of the health disparity that we are doing our best to overcome. And hopefully we will have a government that realizes that this is the right thing to do, as Jack McConnell would tell them if he were sitting here today.
Yeah. Well, you're doing God's work down there. I mean, there's nothing more important to our musicians. Before we bring Craig in from Bonorama, should we check out the clip?
Sure.
All right. I'm going to put you guys in the holding room, and I'm going to roll the clip. So I'll have you all back in a second. Here is the clip from One Note at a Time. Let me get it rolling here, and I'll be right back.
Every Sunday when I go to church, I want to go there when we finish. And I don't have anywhere to go when we finish because everybody's gone. Everybody in my family is gone. You know, we loved each other in our own way. But I didn't realize until after what I really had.
He said, ain't you heard? The hurricanes changed course. They're coming right up the river.
1,800 people died. That was documented.
You could hear a pin drop in the daytime.
No birds, no nothing. This is New Orleans. Ain't nothing like New Orleans. And we love music.
It was a blessing to come home and watch people come to the little bars at night, hear us playing.
I felt the responsibility to come back and take care of it.
We offer primary care to help musicians who never have insurance.
They work 80, 90 hours a week rehearsing and gigging, and that takes a wear and tear on their body.
They're telling me they don't want me to work as many nights a week as I'm working right now.
This is why it's hard to pay bills.
I've been eating all kind of crazy things. You know, you're on the road, you have to go and eat it.
All of those musicians had health problems, whether it was physical or whether it was mental or emotional, and the clinic was there for them.
You saved my life 4 or 5 times.
The Musicians Clinic is struggling a bit right now financially.
The grant that we had will not be renewed.
Negligence and ignorance. Ignorance because you don't know what you've got.
We're not criminals. We're not the ones that's destroying this city.
As we marched through the courts of the Ivoryville projects, we paid attention to the older brothers. I know I learned a lot. Following them for miles and miles into the music. It stopped.
Without our traditions, we are nothing.
One note at a time. You guys all need to click in this weekend. I am going to show you the banner here for One Note at a Time. And you can find it on foodfilmandmusic.com, which is where they're going to be showing it. Before I bring the ladies in, oh wait, let me close that because that I don't want the video still going. I'm going to bring Craig Klein in and say hi to him before I bring the ladies back, and then we'll have a little group discussion. Hello, Craig Klein from Bonorama. How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm hanging in there. So Big Easy, I was talking to you. Tell me it's sunny, beautiful day today.
Well, they told us it was going to be the storm Marco coming by, but it didn't come this way.
Well, knock on wood. I'm happy to hear it. How's it going? How has your pen? I mean, you live in New Orleans. You're a classic. Bonorama is one of the classic New Orleans brass bands. You've been around for long. How long you guys been at it?
Well, Bonorama's been around for about 20 years or so, but there are many other bands. That band just mostly does touring. When we're home, which is a good part of the time, we're all working with a lot of other bands, Preservation Hall, Storyville Stompers, Brass Band, the Jazz Vipers. It's there's Palm Court. So we're always busy.
Oh, sorry.
So yeah, and when I do go on tour, it's with Bonorama.
But like every New Orleans musician, you pick up as much work as you can.
Yeah, and it was before the pandemic. It was quite busy around here for musicians.
And now, what's going on?
Well, absolutely nothing. Well, actually, last night I got together at Greg Hicks, who plays trombone in Bonorama, and Matt Perrine, who plays tuba in Bonorama. We went to Greg's backyard and we played some trios, just reading some notes and playing together, just to play. And I've done that a few times, which feels great.
Right. But the money part is the hard part of what's happening.
The money part is not. Thank goodness for the unemployment. Otherwise, it would be not so good.
Yeah, they're really messing around with what they're going to do with the next level on unemployment too, which is a real issue. How are New Orleans musicians finding relief at this time?
There's been some help for musicians around the country. So in the beginning there were a lot of grants you could apply for, and a lot of people reached out and got that. So some people are doing online performances, and that's been successful for quite a few. I've done a couple of those, and I think there's a few coming up that I'll be doing, but I haven't gone too deep into that.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot of the way that the guys are making money now. That's it's working, but it's also hard because you can't really get together with your band, and I know I've seen Big Sam doing stuff in his driveway and putting it out, and he was early on just having everybody distance and putting it out, and it was just great to see any kind of music because we're all music fans, and it just must be really hard to see the city not clicking on all cylinders.
Oh, of course it is.
We're just a very, very hard time right now. Tell us about it. Are you involved? Are you in the movie?
I don't know. When after Katrina, things were moving by, and there were a lot of people filming things, and I did a lot of interviews and was part of this and that and the other. So I don't know I don't know. We'll have to ask for
how long was that bounce back from Katrina?
How long has it been?
No. How long did it take the city to bounce back? By the time I got there to Jazz Fest, things were open and rocking, but not like it was the year before, of course.
Yeah, in some respects, we're still bouncing back. In a lot of respects, we're still bouncing back. The music scene bounced back very well. It was a lot of work. Musicians, for some reason, there were a lot of factors. The HBO series Treme put out a lot of information, and a lot of people wanted to come to New Orleans, a lot of musicians especially. And they did, and they came here, and it created a scene. The whole Frenchman scene blew up. Musicians were working all the time. So it was the music. It took a while. It took years. It took many years, 5-10 years, and it's been 15 years for it to.
And what aspects of the city don't you think have bounced back yet?
Oh, there's some parts of the city that haven't been completely rebuilt. The lower Ninth Ward and some of those homes there, people didn't have flood insurance, so you couldn't rebuild, and the government wasn't prepared to help, and this and that.
They're not letting people build there, are they?
You can build there.
Oh, you can.
Mm-hmm.
But do they have requirements like you have to be that so far off the ground and stuff like that?
Yeah, you probably do want to be that. You definitely want to follow those regulations.
Yeah, you think?
But I was just reading a story that says our levee system is the strongest it's ever been. They spent like $14 billion rebuilding levees, so it's stronger. They tell us it's stronger. They tell us it's safer, and at some point we'll find out.
Yeah, well, let's hope it's not Wednesday, because
Let's hope it's not Wednesday.
that's when the next blast comes, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's bring the ladies back in. Hello,
Hi.
hello. Everybody's in. Great. All right. So Renee, did he make the cut? Did you talk to Craig for the film or?
Yes.
Yes.
We didn't film it yet, but what's brilliant is that he's going to take part in one of our Q&As on Q&A, because we have a Q&A on Saturday and Sunday, and he's going to take part and represent the musicians over there, as well as Chip Wilson and Felice Guimont, and it's going to be wonderful. Yeah.
Who's what time is that happening?
What I wanted to say as well was during lockdown, 15 of the contributors to One Note at a Time. So there's a short film going to be shown as well called 15 Years Down the Road.
Oh, that's a short. Oh, that's an addendum.
So both the films will be available for the whole weekend for 48 hours. You can stream.
Excellent. Well, we look forward to what's Pam or excuse me, Donna. What's the schedule for the weekend?
The Q&A will be at 2:00 Central Standard Time. That is New Orleans time. And I will have the world calendar clock time up on the website and send a reminder out so everybody can tune in. So we're having a Q&A both on Saturday and Sunday, 2:00 New Orleans time. And then the Q&A will be recorded and we'll have it attached to watch later for anybody who does not join in for the live Q&A.
Okay. And is the movie on demand or how does it work and how much is it?
It's $9.99 and it's available through foodfilmmusic.com for this weekend. And it's available for all over the world. It's not being geo-blocked for any territories. And we want everyone from Australia to Asia, to New Orleans, to Canada, to California, New York. We want everybody who's missing New Orleans to join us for this very special weekend when we all need to be connected to this city that we love so much and to the musicians who give us so much joy. It's time for us to take care and love them back during these difficult times. So please join us.
Absolutely. Bethany, how can we help? What's the best way for us that we can help?
Get a Democratic president.
We're trying.
I mean, there's so much we need financially, but it is public policy that has to change. We have so many of our musicians who are being evicted because rents are very high here. And we need to be able to have food stability, housing stability, because it's wonderful that musicians come here from out of town. That's fantastic. But we want to be able to sustain those musicians who have been here for generations, and that they can have viable careers and viable, healthy lives here. And that is something that, this is now or never. And particularly for musicians who are over 65 years old, and there are many wonderful ones. But this is a line in the sand that we must ensure that they can continue to be part of the culture that they help create.
And are you getting help from Spotify and Music Cares and some of the other bigger?
Music Cares and Jazz Foundation of America and Actors Fund are fantastic because they give individual grants to our performers, and they give the money to them directly, or they help pay bills directly.
Mm-hmm.
But what we believe that we need to be doing is having more healthcare workers who can go into the neighborhoods, go into homes, because during this time, people aren't going in and getting their blood taken to check on their diabetes. They're not going in and getting MRIs or colonoscopies. And I know that sounds mundane and terrible and boring, But without these things, without these healthcare monitors, we are going to see real cultural extinction because people are going to die.
It's happening now. I mean, we have a backline doc care that's really been helping people with the mental aspect of, the musicians, because there's been so much suicide lately. I mean, I know Justin Towns just passed away, and I don't know if that was medical or I haven't heard why that happened, but it seems like every time you turn around, someone else is dying, another musician's dying at a young age. They
are, and people are drinking more than that is probably good for them, and we really believe that the first thing we can do is have more community health workers out in the neighborhoods going and checking on people, because it's just not safe for them to come to the clinic, and doing telehealth isn't going to really and truly see what's going on with a lot of people.
Well, absolutely incredible work you're doing over there at the clinic, and I don't know how people are surviving without it. Craig, you must know people that firsthand that are dealing with the benefits of being with the clinic. You hear me there, Craig?
You know what? I'm having trouble hearing you guys. Y'all are freezing this. Yeah, no, not so good.
Not so good? Well, I'll tell you what. Take out your headphones and go down that little audio thing down there and use your internal mic or using your headphone mic. So it's always a challenge here at 420 Live dealing with the technical. I'm going to let Craig try to figure it out. Craig, you wave when you got to figure it out. Is that better? No. Okay. All right. Renee, are you tired yet? Renee's on a little delay.
I've lost track. It's 1 a.m. Yes. I'm okay. Thank you. I'm glad to be here. I've been working around the clock anyway. We're still finishing off the film, the short film.
Oh, you're still doing the editing. So what was the experience like? I mean, this is the first time you made a movie. I mean, what was that like for you? I mean, did you think you bit off more than you could chew?
Oh. Yeah, at one point I remember sort of the weight of it. I was sort of like lying on this bed in the French Quarter where I was staying, just thinking, "Oh my, what am I doing?" Of it, yeah. It was a dream come true because I've been editing for many, many years before that, and always wanting to do to direct something. So, and I thought it would be drama, and I was. But I think because I've been editing so many documentaries, I actually obviously learned something along the way. So it was great to put it into practice.
So you came to this as an editor. That's how you started.
Then the useful with it at the same time, is great too.
Yeah. We're definitely feeling the distance in your call. Donna, what's happening behind you there in the sky?
The storm is obviously here. I was trying to run away from it. It's following me.
It looks absolutely incredible. Oh, is that the storm that was supposed to hit New Orleans?
Well, I don't know. It's too far. It's too far from New Orleans. This is a whole different storm. You can't get away from them in the South. It's just what do you do? Hot Atlanta, Low Country, New Orleans, the Gulf. I don't know. It's just
it's very exotic. The whole been flashing back there. It looks absolutely cool.
This is not a virtual background. This is the real thing happening. I'm pretending I'm at a concert. It's the best I can do, right? A real light show. I will say my favorite memories of Jazz Fest were always being at the fairgrounds, and when it started storming, some people would scatter, and then there would be the crazy group that would just stay. I was part of that group. That to me was the best time. Stomping in the mud, and the wind's blowing, and the music's just getting louder, and just the rain on your body and getting wet. It was just every emotion possible.
Yeah, but then there was that time a couple years ago when the biblical lightning and thunderstorm happened, and it was like 3 feet of water in the fairgrounds in 20 minutes, and people were swimming through the opening of the blues tent in the paper the next day.
I little fish.
But you do know that is a racetrack, and so that mud is all of the waste matter from horses. So it's not just regular mud that you're playing in.
Thanks, Bethany. Well, it's funny. A couple years ago, I went, and I think they changed the sod or something, and the whole place stunk to high heaven. It was just like, whoa, what happened?
No, that's what it smells like all the time. I spend a lot of time trying to cover that up, but when it rains, it's just horseshit, people.
So you're telling me Jazz Fest is built on a pile of shit, basically.
That's right. That's right. You got it.
Literally.
I see people who are swimming, I think, do you know that you're swimming in a horse shit? I mean, what's the matter with you?
So, Bethany, what was your first Jazz Fest?
Well, my first Jazz Fest was in 1975.
Whoa, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think it was like 1975.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, when I first started going to Jazz Fest, there were more musicians than there were people who were attending.
And were you born and raised in New Orleans?
Oh my God, no. I was raised in Mississippi. And when I was 7 years old, my parents brought me here to sit on Santa's lap. And I said, all I want is to be queen of the French Quarter. And Santa just looked at me like, I don't think so. And so I said to my parents, look, I'm 7. I know I can live there. Like, it's fine. Like, I can get along if you just let me live there. And my parents did not think an unattended 7-year-old should really be in New Orleans. So I didn't get to come here to college.
Oh, so did you go to Tulane? Is that what part you there?
Yes, I did.
Wow.
Yep. And Quint Davis sat behind me in history class.
Who was that?
Quint Davis.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, he sat behind me in history.
Was he peeking at your notes?
I will not say any more than he sat behind me in history class.
I think I nailed it. We all know how he passed that grade. That's really funny. Do you have a favorite memory from Fest? Something that stands out because you've been going the longest.
All right, there are many memories, but I think my favorite, like all time, just because I loved Etta James so much, and I happened to be backstage, and her band was playing. And there was Etta, and she almost came out, like they were playing the first song, and she turned to somebody and she said, do you smell chicken? And they said, well, yeah, there's a food booth right back there. And she said, well, you go get me some chicken. And they said, for you when you get off stage. She said, no, I want chicken now. And so her poor band was still playing this song, and the guy went, he got her chicken, he waited in line, he got her chicken, brought the chicken, she ate the chicken, and then she went on stage. I don't know if that's why that's one of my favorite memories. But look on those musicians' faces as they continue to play this song. Like, it was just right here. What happened to her?
That is great. Renee, do you have a favorite memory of Jazz Fest? I know I'm on delay, so.
Oh yeah, well, I watched Dr. John in the Rain a few years ago, and also Al Green was my first Jazz Fest, but I can't remember what year it was.
Oh,
So those two are my favorite memories.
And Donna?
I started going to Jazz Fest in '92. I was attending the University of Alabama, and the girls and I decided to take a road trip to the Jazz Fest. And I fell in love that Sunday when the Radiators closed, and sitting on the fairgrounds when it was just still really small and just hanging out. And I'm like, I'll always be back. And just, walking back to the car, if I could find it, we could find it, and making friends along the way, and sitting on stoops and having crawfish and drinking with strangers that ended up being friends. And it's always had my heart since then. So here we are down the road.
Do you have a favorite moment from Fest that stands out for you besides being in the storm and splashing in the mud?
I just think it's just the flagpoles that really mean something. I wouldn't say it's one event. I'm friends with, the crew to Blender, and I've hung out with the Fez heads, and I end up, the flagpoles are one of my favorite memories. So I wouldn't say it's a cumulative experience. Come in the gospel tent in the morning and just get that going, and then make your round. And it's to me, it's like going to church. It's a spiritual experience, and you get all of it, and mind, body, and soul. Cover it all.
What I love about it is when I step out on the fairgrounds and I get out on that track, I feel like I was there yesterday.
Yeah.
Even though it was a year ago, I feel like I was like, wow, it takes me back to my last time I was there. And I'm just like, it feels like I'm always at the track. I mean, it's just really bizarre. It has such a strong place in my heart, New Orleans. And I really appreciate you ladies and what you've done for us. For bringing a little attention at this time when we're coming up on the anniversary of Katrina, and you guys just happen to have this movie coming out. It is the 15th anniversary. Is that correct?
Right. 15th on the 29th.
Which would be Saturday, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you got a double barrel coming down. Our thoughts are with you, Bethany, because we know you're on site. And I know you got a lot of people to take care of there. 2,600 people. New Orleans Musician Clinic really, really could use your help, folks. I am going to fly the banner one more time up here. Hold on.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Well, these are all, it's very important for us and all my listeners and everybody out there to know how important New Orleans is to our music, our culture, our way of life here in America. It is probably the most exciting town in America and one of my favorites. So you have a couple bucks, throw it down there, and I'm sure Bethany and her staff will make sure it gets to everyone it needs to get to. Bethany, I want to thank you for coming on today.
Thank you so much.
It was great to meet you, and thanks for that fish story. I know we're going to get a lot of mileage out of that. It was great. Thanks. Have a great day, Bethany.
Bye.
All right. There's the clinic. I'm going to go through these one at a time here. And next, hold on. Let me see you ladies a little bit better. We have Renee and the amazing movie, onenoteatatime.com. They have a Shopify site on there where you can get some merch. And you can see the film this weekend. We're really looking forward to it. You have any last thoughts, Renee? Anything you want to tell us Yanks? I think it's, here it comes. I see her lips moving. I'm not hearing what you're saying, though. I think the connection between us and Renee is so far away. Oh, there she is.
Yeah, and 10%.
Hold on. Go ahead. Say it again.
Hello, and good luck. And we've got 10% of the 10% of.
Great. Well, excellent. Well, thank you very much, Renee. Thanks for tuning in, and we all look forward to seeing more great things from you.
Can you hear me? Oh, you can't hear me?
I hear.
Oh, is that better? No.
Yeah, it is, but we're signing off anyway. So say goodbye.
Okay, I was trying it with headphones. 10% of the tickets will go to the clinic.
That's great. Well, excellent. I know how hard it is to make. I know how hard it is to make a documentary. And we lost her. Here she goes. Donna, thank you so much for reaching out. I want everybody to check out Food Film Music the 28th and 29th. On the anniversary of Katrina, the 15th anniversary, Donna is once again turning the attention on the fine folks in New Orleans and them needing our help. So do what you can. Tune in. Food, Film, and Music. Check out One Note at a Time. Do you want to tell everybody out one last thing from your electrical set there?
just do what's in your heart, and just whether it's now or later, just reach out to those that you do love and appreciate New Orleans, whether it's through their Facebook Live events or just any way you can help. Gift cards, send them to the clinic and have them pass them out. And we just have to do what we can to help each other these days, and keep the faith and be kind.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Donna. It was great to see you. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Steph. Take care.
All right. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye. Well, there you go. Another adventure into the synergy that is consistent in my life right now is the way people reach out to me to help out with these various things coming on that are really near and dear and close to my heart. New Orleans, it's a place, and that is just so important to us, to me personally, to all my friends. This is the place we go. I talk about getting the yayas out. It's the one thing we're missing in America, in our world right now, is our trying to release our yayas. So I want everybody to go out there and get your yayas out. You know how important it is. Throw some cash to our friends at the New Orleans Musicians Clinic. Check out Food, Film, and Music, Donna's, and check out One Note at a Time, Renee's film. And also, as Bethany said, we want to elect a president who has the presence and the mind to take care of all of our people, regardless of race, color, creed. It's about time we level the playing field and make this about everybody and not about the 1% anymore. And I know it's all nice that we have. It's nice to have things, but we see how fast we can lose everything. So just make sure you're taking care of yourself and everyone around you. And when you can give. Okay. So let's talk about Asher's Chocolates. As you know, I have a 420 Live bar. It's a CBD bar. You can get it at Asher's Chocolates. Spend $75. Use the 420 Live coupon. They will give you 20% off, and they'll throw one of those 428 ounces of delicious chocolate and M&Ms and potato chips and pretzels and coconut flakes and raisins and CBD. And it's good for you, and it's delicious too. And we're going to be changing that recipe a little bit. I had a couple questions I want to get to before I get to the hug. Josh Semelek asked me, how's New York? Is it feeling strange? Yes, New York is feeling strange. Yes, it's different. Everybody's outside eating. You don't really go inside for anything. I went to Prince Street Pizza to grab a slice, and you know what? No wait. And then I knew the guy from LA, from my friend Lawrence Longo, who was on the show Big Shot, because if you don't know, Prince Street Pizza is coming to Los Angeles. What the guy told me was they had a oven shipped out. It wasn't the right fit, so they had to order another one because Pops he's very hard to please. So let me see if there's anything else here that needs my attention. There's some great links at the New Orleans Musician Clinic shared up on the page here. And they also have the link about the fish. And that was a great one, the great story. All right, Mike Russick. Everybody, thank you. Thanks for tuning in. I hope everybody's having a nice end to summer. I hope it's ending on a peaceful note. I hope your kids are going back to school and everybody's safe and staying safe and they're masked and you're keeping your social distance. And don't forget, because we don't want to go back into this. I mean, look at this background tonight. The Chrysler building all lit up like that. I mean, come on. This is money. I'm here in New York for the week for the MTV Video Music Awards. If you don't know why I'm here, I'm getting ready tomorrow. I'll be shooting at 10 a.m. at a secret location. They're not doing anything live. It's all going to be canned, and they're going to cut it together on Saturday, and then we're going to shoot it all the week, and then Sunday they're going to have the show. So it's we're not going to have the spectacle. We're not going to have red carpet. You're not going to see crazy fashion. You might on the performers, but we're going to miss the spectacle. The thing about the VMAs is it's always about the spectacle. So it's with a tear that I say that I'm going to shoot the VMAs, but it's not going to be the same thing. So it's very hard right now, but we're all doing what we can during this pandemic to shout it out. And I'm glad MTV is doing something. It's nice. Our friends there at Viacom, Bob Backish, and all the fine people, Bruce Gilmer, doing a fantastic job and able to put together an award show in a pandemic. So we're looking forward to seeing what we got. And I will come back to you tomorrow. We're going to be back, I believe, with Dave O. I'm waiting for my schedule, but I should be done in time to come to you live with Dave O from Jambase. And Wednesday, there's a guest Wednesday too. It's Inside Lands from the Outside Lands crew. We're going to be talking Inside Lands. Peace, love, happiness, everybody out there. That's a New York City Big Apple hug. We will see you back here.